Spider-Man Far From Home about to hit cinemas, I got to speak to director Jon Watts, who amazingly just 5 years ago was making YouTube videos, and now he's in charge of arguably the most famous comic book character on earth. He spoke to me about how he made that transition, how nervous he was doing that. He also spoke about if he can see Venom being part of this universe, or indeed Jared Leto's Morbius, if he'd be interested in doing an Avengers movie, and of course we talked about a Richard Grieco film from 25 years ago. Here it is, enjoy. I was re-watching some of your YouTube content. One of the videos, worst computer ever, I noticed you had a Spider-Man poster in the background of all things. Have you always been a fan of the character, or is this a dream project of yours?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, that movie was basically made in like our dorms when we were at NYU, maybe just a little bit after. And those Sam Raimi Spider-Man films were such a big deal to all of us when they came out. So it's amazing you noticed that.
I believe in order to get the role of the director, you put together a sizzle reel of Spider-Man. Can you tell us what that entailed, or what was part of that?
Yeah, well, it was all about creating like a juxtaposition between high school moments and superhero moments. It was really fun. It was an excuse to watch all the Marvel and Spider-Man movies again and pull out moments that you could then intercut with moments from a show like Freaks and Geeks or a John Hughes movie to just sort of show what that juxtaposition might feel like and capture the spirit of what was in my head.
Your first film, Clown, which I know you got assistance from Eli Roth, that was 3 years trying to get that scene. And your second film then, Cop Car, before that's even released, you're offered Spider-Man. Is that intimidating or surreal to all of a sudden go from, scraping away in the background for the past decade to all of a sudden you've the biggest movie star on the planet and Robert Downey Jr., he's looking to you for direction? How does that feel?
Yeah, it's nuts. I remember when I got the call that I was going to be directing Homecoming, and I really didn't think I was going to get it until I got it. I was in a cab on the way to the airport in New York. I couldn't say anything because it was all still secret, and I didn't want the cab driver to overhear this conversation. And so, Kevin Feige is telling me that I got the job. I just felt like the cab was going faster and faster, weaving through traffic, and the whole thing seemed like a dream, and I just thought, oh man, this is it. I'm going to get the best news of my life, and then I'm going to die in a fiery car crash. It felt so strange.
Far From Home, I think, is just your third feature film now, and you're directing someone like Sam Jackson, who I think has made 3 films since we started this conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Is there any imposter syndrome in the back of your mind, or any nagging self-doubts, or do you have to kind of captain this ship now that you have to listen to me?
I mean, I always try to take any of those doubts that I might have and just put them into the movie. I mean, Spider-Man Far From Home is essentially about the whole world turning to Peter Parker and saying, "Okay, kid, what's next? Time for you to step up." And him being like, "I don't know if I'm ready." So any of my own self-doubt, I just instead of hiding that, I take it and I just put it on a page.
And when you were writing something like Homecoming, and I imagine being a big fan of Spider-Man, you've a million Spider-Man ideas in your head. When you watch something like Infinity War or Endgame, I assume you're kind of given the heads up in advance, but how much of your story has to change when you're looking at that with things like the snap or, Tony passing away?
Well, I was lucky that I knew everything that was going to happen in Infinity War and Endgame a long time ago. So when we started developing and writing this movie, we knew what was going to happen. The only thing I didn't know until the premiere of Endgame was I didn't know that Tony was going to take that picture of Spider-Man out and look at it, and that be the last thing that sort of pushes him over the edge to decide that, yeah, he's going to jump in and solve this time travel problem. I didn't realize it was going to be a photo of Peter Parker. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, that really hit me.
So the onus is on you now to take that story arc and
run
with it.
Well, I was like, wow, Peter means a lot to Tony, and Tony's going to mean a lot to Peter.
You were saying there as well that you were influenced for your audition reel essentially by a lot of the kind of the high school movies like John Hughes. What would kind of be a direct reference for something like Far From Home?
There isn't one. I thought there was going to be more of high school kids going to Europe and going on a school trip. In my mind, that was a genre, but then when I started looking up the films, there aren't really that many. So Euro trip, kind of. I mean, you can kind of watch National Lampoon's European Vacation, but it doesn't really translate. Yeah, wait, which ones did you say?
Teen Agent, where Richard Grieco's about 40 playing a teenager.
Yeah, with Richard Grieco.
Yeah. But
outside of that, no, I had to come up with a whole new set of references.
With this as well, obviously, you've got Venom and Morbius now in production. In the background, you've got the Disney Marvel movies that are very much their own thing as well. Is there any pressure on you to lean into either one of those universes?
there was so much MCU business to take care of in this film that I think it would have started to feel overstuffed if there were all these other characters being introduced. But for me, that becomes a question for the future. I'm just focusing on this one movie at a time.
And without giving too much away, you've kind of set up some of the Sinister Six so far. Is that something you're leaning towards, like the classic Spider-Man story that's never been done on screen?
Yeah, I mean, it would be very cool to see all of these characters team up. And we know that they're out there, so only time will tell, I guess.
You've opened up the possibility of the multiverse. Of course, we saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse this year. One of the characters that's been absent from your movie so far is Uncle Ben. Is that something you've kicked around, or you think that's been, pardon the pun, been done to death at this point?
Too soon. Obviously, Uncle Ben is such a big part of who Peter is in the comics, and we have talked about how he is integrated into this world. But since we haven't seen him on screen yet, I can't really say. But in Marvel, it's always about, the best idea wins. So, if we can come up with the right way to integrate him into this world, then we'll do it.
And finally, the Russos now have stepped away after Endgame, so the Avengers chair is very much open. Is that something you'd be interested in doing, or would you primarily want to focus more on Spider-Man and continue the arc you've started with Homecoming?
What's nice about the Marvel films is that they all intertwine in really surprising and unexpected ways, so you never know. I mean, I think they started making a Captain America movie, and before they knew it, they were directing a giant Avengers movie, so you never know where this path is going to lead.
Jon Watts, thank you so much for your time. Spider-Man Far From Home, really looking forward to it.
And worst computer ever available.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much for your time, Jon.
Yeah, thank you.